Hey there everyone, JhN here again, and today I'm going to share some pretty crazy stuff. A lot of people will probably be shaking their head at this, and a lot of people will be eating it up with a big spoon, and they'll want more of it. It's a bit more about my spiritual journey. I teach people how to elevate their mindset and therefore their perspective to see all the blessings in their life, to come to this place of abundance. And I also teach manifestation, but basically I'm teaching self-love, to know your value, to be in love with your worth and have that self-love within yourself. And then from there, you can live a very peaceful, beautiful, serene life of abundance, or you can manifest new experiences that you want to see yourself experiencing in the future. It's all the steps are there. But I wasn't born knowing how to do this stuff. I had to learn how to do this stuff. And there was one driving catalyst that really rocketed me into a new realm of existence. And my perception is one that was very different than what it was previously. And that catalyst was my wife's passing, the death of Jessica Marie, who I was with for 12 years. I talk about this a good amount because that was the start of my spiritual journey. I had read The Power of Now before she was even sick. And that was kind of the introduction to spirituality. But I just read that book once. I had some meditations and I was starting to kind of get into that stuff, but very, very lightly. It would be like if I wanted to, become a yogi, I went to a 30-minute class twice a week for a month. I wasn't really all into this stuff. I didn't know anything that I know now. But when Jess passed away, some stuff happened, and that's what I want to share with you, that really just absolutely incinerated my mindset and what I thought of life and death and of myself. And from that space, after she passed, I continued to heal and learn and live and love. But I had to go through the gauntlet of suffering and agony. But I had a tremendously profound and beautiful influence to help guide me through, and that was Jessica. She shared an extremely vital message with me that just totally uprooted everything I knew about life and death as well. She shared that message with me after she passed away. So I want to tell you the story with what happened to me soon after Jessica's passing, and it really was remarkable, and it's amazing, and I'm going to share some other examples of some stuff that happened along the way. But this is a really profound story, and again, it served as the catalyst for my spiritual awakening. And through there, my journey started off with that first step of having to figure out how to live and love without her there in the picture. So I just want to welcome you guys. If you're new to the channel, I teach all about mindfulness and spiritual techniques and applications and manifestation and all this other stuff to come to a place of self-love and abundance. And from there, you can be the architect of whatever kind of reality you want to create. And there are a ton of different tools and resources I give. You can work one-on-one with me. I have a mentoring program where I speak with you once a week and we go after all of your goals, dreams, and ambitions together. Or if you just want a single session, I have a manifestation masterclass online. I have a weekly newsletter, and I'm launching a novel pretty soon. So be sure to check out my website. It's a tremendous resource for you guys if you're looking to experience awakening yourself and need some help and some guidance and encouragement and support. I can be that guy. I'm very, very successful at it because this is what I do. This is what I'm passionate about, and this is what I know the most about. So thank you for checking out this video. If you're new again, please be sure to subscribe and hit the notifications button so you're on the up and up when I release new content, which is about once a week. I'm trying to increase that a little bit more. And if you want some more help, check out my website. But this is going to be an awesome story to either fascinate you and educate you possibly and inspire you. At least those three things are my hope. And let me know if you have any questions or comments. Just ask away in the comments section. And I will be doing this every single week. I just had an awesome free consultation with a gentleman from Australia who commented on one of my videos, and I drew his name out of the raffle, and I gave him an actual 45-minute consultation for free. So that would be about a $225 value. So if you comment, ask a question, say what's up, say hi, anything at all in the comment section, I'm going to enter you into that same raffle, and you can get a 30-minute consultation with me, $150 value. So let's get into it. I'm going to share the message I received from Jess, which absolutely turned my world upside down. It was a few days after she had passed, and it was a really grueling, hard 10 months, and I was taking care of Jess, and we were just aligned, in tune. We were very connected, very, very, very close. The closest, most loving we ever had been at that point in our entire tenure of relationship, because we were facing mortality. When death is knocking at your door, you don't really care about insecurities and criticisms, and you don't care about who left the socks out and who didn't do the dishes and this, that, and the other. All that stuff is just so insignificant that you really just delayer and you get to the source of your relationship and your love, and that is truly where we were through this. And unexpectedly, she passed away. I never thought it was going to happen. She never thought it was going to happen. We really just did not believe that was a possibility. We were terrified of it happening, but we didn't actually think it was going to happen. So it happened, and my whole life just stopped from that point. I didn't know what to do with myself or anything. You're caring for this person, trying to pick up the pieces now and figure out what's your point in life. So I knew right then and there that my life was going to go through a dramatic change. I didn't think it was going to be to this extent. So I get a phone call on Jessica's phone. It's about 4 or 5 days after she passed. And it's a woman who's a dear, dear friend of mine now, and she has been for all these years, Tanya Melendez. She is a medium and a psychic, a tarot card reader, and she was really good friends with Jess. She lived in Chicago, and Jess and her were in the wellness sector together, and they were good friends. Tanya was living off in another country, I believe it was Spain at the time, and she didn't know about Jessica's passing. It had only been a few days, and not everybody's on the up and up with everything and on social media all the time, and she wasn't. And she reached out to Jessica, and she said, "Hey, honey, I'm thinking about you a lot. You're just coming to my mind, and I'm just reaching out to check up on you." And I had Jessica's phone at that time, and I basically answered the text. I said, "Hey, I'm so sorry to be the one to tell you this, but Jessica passed away." And she immediately responded and goes, "Oh my gosh, I know what all this means now. Jessica's coming to me to reach out to you." And I was like, "Okay, crazy lady." My very analytical mind goes, "Okay, what does she want? What's her angle here?" But then she started sharing all this information that she really shouldn't have known. And so she really built my confidence and trust, and I was a grieving husband. So I was kind of like, anybody could have told me a lot of stuff, and I was very gullible, if you will, and vulnerable. And so she started telling me things that she couldn't know. But she said, "Jessica has a message for you." The very first thing that the sign, the message that Jess wanted me to know was that she wanted me to write a book, to be an author, to write this book. And I'll talk about all that at another video, because I will be launching the first book out of a novel that this whole inspiration is from. I've been working on it for so many years now, and I'm pretty close to be getting it edited and launching that on Amazon soon, self-publish. I'm gonna try to get out there quick, but awesome epic adventure, love story, inspired from my whole story, triggered from this moment, and traveling the world and learning to heal and love again and changing my mind. So all about that in the book, but I'll share that with you guys. Again, if you're on my newsletter, you can be kept up and up on that. But the second thing that she said was, "Jessica wants you to read a book." And so I go, "Okay, well, what book?" And she said, "The Afterlife of Billy Fingers." You're probably going to Google it, and if you're not familiar with it already, but it's about a guy, Billy, and his wife, Annie, or his sister Annie, and Billy has a really hard life and he passes away. He dies, but he's able to communicate with Annie after he passes. And that communication shows Annie that there is this beyond, and he describes what happens after death. So I read that book immediately. And Tanya continued to help me and send me little signs that she would receive from Jess. She had a very strong connection. And I would receive this kind of information from other psychics, other people, Jess visiting their dreams, see significances in my reality that she was giving me lots of messages and encouragement as I traveled the world. I'll share some stories with you guys here, but I wanted to share this one story first because it really did just change everything for me. So, in this book, The Afterlife of Billy Fingers, I started reading it and getting seriously into the story. And it was really hard because all I kept thinking about was Jessica dying. But then I was discovering that that just meant her death here on Earth. So that means that she went somewhere else where she has a more expanded perspective and she's able to help me. I'm not able to help her from where I'm at, so that means she must be elevated in some capacity, in a place where she's able to experience being there, but at the same time watch over me and guide me. So there had to be something to that. That signified to me, because I'm getting these signs from Tanya and these messages from Jess through her and the world, the phenomenon that I was experiencing, because at that point in time after I left the book, or left reading the book, I started traveling the world and volunteering with my dear friend Ryan. And we started going all throughout South America, doing different volunteer stuff and just trying to go on this epic adventure of touring another few different countries and continent. So it was something to help me heal. And I was very much anguished and grieving the entire time, but a lot of things would happen where I would get signs and guidance from Jessica. So after reading this book, I discovered that Billy was able to look over Annie and watch her life, kind of like you'd watch a movie. He knew everything that she was doing and feeling, and he was able to experience that with her and talk about it with her. He was actually able to like speak into her life, like you would almost hear somebody on an intercom. Just for me, I would get signs from Tanya and then through the world. But it changed everything because it showed me that, one, without jumping too far ahead, for all the other stuff that I continued learning, was that if she's there and I'm here, and she has that elevated perspective, for me, that meant that this life that I'm living now as JhN had reason and purpose. So it wasn't just to be this man grieving over the loss of his wife. There had to be something more to this, because it means that we have this other place that exists outside of here, heaven or the afterlife, and that we come to Earth for a particular reason or a bunch of reasons, but there's purpose. I don't know any of this stuff yet, but that was a driving force to help alleviate that maybe this isn't just the only life here, and that there's some other existence outside of our human existence here in which it's more powerful and more beautiful and more perfect, like going to heaven. But it means that we choose to come here. So I really highly recommend that book. After I read that book and I'm traveling the world, I'm meeting all these different people, helping out in different capacities and meeting all these other people on their own spiritual journey. And through that, I learned about the next book, Many Lives, Many Masters. Somebody's like, oh, you read that? Read this. This is mind-blowingly, it's mind-blowing. It'll change everything for you. I'm like, well, I'm already there. But then I read that book and it was the escalation, the next step up, the ascension of this afterlife of Billy Fingers. Basically, that there is the afterlife and we go there and we experience pure bliss and that's our home, but we actually choose to come to Earth and incarnate into human form, into a human body, and live a life here. And that we actually may know others from the spirit realm who have chosen to live this life here too, and we kind of do some stuff together. And then we do that more than once. We actually reincarnate on a regular basis back to Earth as we continue our soul's evolution of learning new lessons of ethics and morality and kindness and compassion and self-love and love in general and all this other stuff. So Many Lives, Many Masters, awesome. beautiful, eye-opening book about this, I think, psychologist or psychiatrist. And he has this one patient in particular who suffers from a tremendous amount of trauma and mental health issues, and he helps her overcome all this stuff because she's able to access her past lives. And through that, she's seeing that she's carried a lot of trauma into this life, and by illuminating that stuff, she's freeing herself of it, and therefore finding peace and purpose and love in this life here. So I'm traveling the world, and I experienced that, and that was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And so if Jess is guiding me, and she gave me that first book, and now I'm getting the second book from somebody I met on a ferry going to these islands in Nicaragua that are in the middle of this huge lake, and she just happens to drop that information on my lap, and I don't take it for granted. And I did that. I read that book, and then it was like, holy cow, mind-blowingly amazing. And then I'm continuing to journey about the whole entire time. I'm thinking, what book am I supposed to write? So I am traveling the world and thinking about what story I would want to tell. And it didn't feel right to do like a memoir and talk about my story, because I had been journaling and kind of doing that online. You can find all my journals on my blog and sign up for my newsletter. It's a continuation of that, and on my website there. And it shows all the different interactions, all the different phenomena that happened, the guidance, the support, the signs, the messages, the encouragement from Jessica as I went through my entire journey of traveling the world and healing. So you can check that out there and see all those stories for yourself. Dating back all the way to 2014, when I first started writing. And so I am now kind of looking at things very differently now, because I'm getting these signs from Jess. An example of a sign would be this. Again, this is had to do with Tanya. And again, there's a lot of other examples, but this one's really, really profound. So you start looking at the world differently. You start opening your perception that life's not just about busy work and getting this done and task-oriented stuff, that you start looking and seeing spiritual stuff go on in the world and expanding your perspective. So I kind of get some momentum in this, and I'm reading different books on educating my mind, the power of now, the untethered soul. I'm reading all these different spiritual books, afterlife stuff, other things, the Tao, the Bhagavad Gita, just kind of gorging in on all these spiritual self-help books to help me heal. And so I needed a little break from wherever I was at the time, and I came back to Chicago, and didn't tell anybody I was home. I was home for a very short period of time, and I was going to gear up and move to Costa Rica and go live there. And again, that was another huge, awesome adventure I'll share with in another video. But I'm home, and it's Chicago, and it's freezing, and I'm walking down the street, and I'm meeting a good friend for lunch in the city somewhere, and I park the car, and again, I'm moving to Costa Rica in like a week, and I'm there in Chicago now, and it is like -2, and the wind's blowing through, and my ears feel like they're gonna fall off, and I'm walking down the street covering my ears so that the wind doesn't whip them right off my head. And they're freezing and everything, and I'm walking 1 block and 2 blocks and 3 blocks to this restaurant because I had to park so damn far. And I'm thinking like, man, I should get those like 180s, those like earmuffs that you put on. I used to wear them all the time when I lived in the city. But I'm moving to Costa Rica. It's 89 degrees there, and I'll be there in a week. So I'm just like, just deal with it and get to the restaurant. I get to the restaurant. I get a text from Tanya, and she just goes like this: Jessica told me to tell you to cover your ears. That was it. That was the message. And I'm reading that, and I just start crying because it's so out of this world. I can hear her laugh. I can feel her love and her embrace from the beyond, guiding me and everything. But it just changing my whole perspective about life. That she knew that little intimate detail, and that was the message that she kind of gave me, because it's so profound, and nobody knew. I was walking down the street by myself at that time. Tanya was still living in Spain. She didn't know what the weather was. She didn't even know where I was or what country I was in or what I was doing. And she gave me that message. She's a profoundly awesome psychic and medium, too. And if you're interested, you can ask me where you get her information if you want to do a reading or something with her or work with her. She's super awesome, super beautiful, very tuned in, and Jess and her had an amazing connection, and she was always giving me all this love and support for free because that's what kind of person she is. But I don't know if she'll do that for you, but whatever she's asking, you should pay it. She's that talented. So anyway, that's one of the things that happened. And so that continued on where I'm expanding everything and I'm seeing the life differently because Jessica is giving me these signs and this encouragement and this like love and guidance. And from that place, it just got even wilder because the next book I'm going to talk about in the next video, I thought these first two books were pretty like life altering. This one is like an afterlife Bible, and it just ascended. I just gorged myself on this book. And then there's something called a past life regression, which I did, and I saw a whole vision of something very, very profound and immense that I want to share with you guys, but on the next video, because this one's already running kind of long. I didn't want it to be this long, but it is some profound spiritual stuff. So I wanted to catch you up. Haven't done a whole My Spiritual Journey episode in a long time, and I'm in this new space, my house. And so I'm excited to keep this going. Be sure to check out that video again, hit the notifications. Thank you guys for subscribing. Visit my website. Let me know how I can help you. Ask questions and enter yourself into the contest to win a free consultation with me. I love you guys all. I'm so grateful to help you in any small way, and I'm really, really grateful that you're here checking out this video. I will see you guys on the next one, and wishing you a lovely, abundant day. Thanks. Ciao for now.